Alright guys, this video will be covering my Malefic deck. Now a lot of these matches I have recorded will be post-October ban list or pre-October ban list. So it'll be before terraforming gets hit to 1, but a lot of them are still good matches against a good variety of decks. So I really do hope you guys, enjoy them and, really watch them. So without further ado, here's the deck. Alright guys, this is the deck build that you're going to be messing around with if you're going to be playing Malefics. This is the most recent deck build. This is your October ban list. You're going to run 3 Malefic Cyber and 3 Rainbow, 2 Blue Eyes, along with the 1 Blue Eyes to go with it, and for the Rainbow, the 1 Rainbow to go with it. Then you're going to run 3 Stardust Dragon, which is busted. You can pull off some really good combos where if you're forced to go first, or if you're going second, which is what you mainly do with this deck, since you OTK, you happen to open up, Mystic Mine, you can go Mystic Mine and then Malefic Stardust Dragon, and what'll happen is if you and your opponent happen to have the same number of monsters, Mystic Mine will normally pop itself. Well, Malefic Stardust Dragon says, no, my field spell cannot be destroyed by card effects, so it stops it from being destroyed. Thus, you have, a field spell on board that says if your opponent gets has more monsters, it can't activate effects or attack. So it's pretty busted. You run 3 gear, and you run 3 gear because you can easily do combos with him, especially with the new Malefic Paradox gear. Now, Paradox gear, in order to get its effect, there has to be a face-up field spell on the board. So it can be yours, it can be your opponent's, doesn't matter, you can get it up there. And what happens is you tribute it off to special summon out a Malefic Parallel gear from your deck, and then you add a Malefic monster from your deck to your hand. So this is instant sync material. So if there's already a field spell on board, this is a 1-card synchro monster, because you just go bap, tribute it off, get Malefic Parallel gear, pull out either, Malefic Blue Eyes White Dragon or Malefic Stardust Dragon, and you can go into your synchros. Triple Allure Darkness, because everything here is dark, except for, that thing and that thing. Triple Malefic Selector, because that is busted. Now, it is busted in the fact that you can add 2 of any Malefic cards with the different names other than the things that you banished, But it comes in handy. Like, there's so many times where I'm just kind of like flat out don't have anything in hand to get out a field spell, and I just have to special summon out 2 of my Malefic monsters, have them die because there's no field spell. Malefic Selector, go into one of the newer support cards, Malefic Territory, which automatically plays Malefic World from your deck if you happen to activate it, and then just add, Paradox or, some other monster that I happen to need. Now, we're running 3 Melody of Awakening Dragon because you can search out 2 of the monsters with it. You can search out Malefic Rainbow Dragon and Rainbow Dragon off of it. You can also search out Malefic Blue Eyes White Dragon and Blue Eyes White Dragon, which he needs to stay in the deck no matter what. So you're either going to be searching out Malefic Rainbow Dragon and Malefic Blue Eyes White Dragon, because you really don't need Rainbow Dragon or Blue Eyes in your hand at all. The 1 terraforming, that ban list hitting that terraforming to 1 really messed this deck over a little, but we counteract that by throwing in more field spells, so hopefully that helps. 3 Malefic Divide. This card is amazing. Now, you have to have properly summoned the Malefic monster that you're wanting to target in the graveyard for the special summon. So you can't just like sync off, you know, a Malefic Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand with Malefic Parallel Gear and try to target him with Malefic Divide. They have to be first summoned by their own effect, and then you can Malefic divide it out. So, but this comes in handy because this allows you to get a free Malefic monster from your graveyard for XYZ materials, for sync materials, for link materials, for an attack, whatever. Or, you know, this card is busted, and it's not once per turn either. So if you open up with multiple of it, and you just happen to have a lot of targets in the graveyard, you got that many, you know, Malefic monsters that you just insta-summoned. Now, Malefic Territory, oh my god, this card was needed ever since Malefics came to being. Alright, this card says, whenever this card is activated, you can activate one Malefic world directly from your deck. That's cool. That helps. Especially since, you know, terraforming's hit. So if you just straight up want to drop one of your optional field spells and just run 3 Malefic world, that's fine too. Because you basically have another 3 terraforming in your deck to activate, you know, Malefic world. I wouldn't, you know, knock you for doing that. But if you do, neither player can target cards in the field zones with card effects while that card is in the field zone. So, as long as Malefic World is in the field zone, after you activate this effect, nobody can target things in the field spell zones. So that means you have to have a mass board wipe to spell and traps in order to get rid of it. Or a non-targeting effect to bounce it to your hand or to destroy it. Also, this makes it so Malefics are playable. Because this says, the effect, there can only be one face-up Malefic monster on the field, becomes there cannot be a face-up Malefic monsters on the field with the same name. Negate the effects of Malefic monsters on the battlefield during their battle phase only. This makes them fucking amazing. You have Malefic Territory and a handful of Malefics, and maybe, possibly, you know, an optional field spell. You have game, unless they have like stuff to negate your stuff with, because you can OTK so many times. So this makes it so that you can summon out one of every Malefic monster onto your board, and then this card can only attack effect gets negated, so you can swing with all of them. This makes this a very OTK heavy deck, and honestly, Konami should have just, you know, reprinted all the Malefic monsters with the errata of that instead of having Malefic Territory to do it. But it's fine. We got Malefic Territory to do it. It makes the deck a little bit more playable. That's fine and dandy. I'm running 2 Malefic World. You can run 3 just to have, you know, that extra cushion just in case if you need it. Necro Valley at 1. Necro Valley does come in handy a lot when, like, it's an optional card, really. Like, I may bump it up to 2, but I don't really want to mess up anything consistency wise. So I may leave it at 1 and then just throw a bunch in the side deck. And then you run 3 Mystic Mine. Now, Mystic Mine is busted. And I know there's a lot of people that can out it. But whenever you just drop Mystic Mine and then start doing your stuff with Malefics and your opponent has like a big board, they kind of get really sad. Because it's just like, oh, okay, I can't do anything. And then you just bust out, you know, Super Dreadnought Real Cannon Juggernaut and kind of swing 6k at everything. Yeah, it kind of makes people sad. Now the extra deck, you run 3 Malefic Cyber and Dragon for the banish. You run 2 Dragocytos Corrupted Nether Soul Dragon for the synchro, because he is one of the better synchros to go into for this deck. Also there's the new Time Lord synchro, which is really good if your opponent's playing like a Link based deck and you summon out this thing. Prepare to rearrange your whole opponent's board, because whenever he attacks, at the end of the damage step, you can choose to activate this effect, and if you do, you can banish all face-up monsters or all monsters your opponent controls. And for the rest of the turn, damage is halved that your opponent takes. But at the end phase, you if his damage step ability was activated, you then return the banished monsters to the main monster zones. Now, this helps quite a bit when you're trying to, like, oh, XYZs and stuff like that. Get that crap out of there. Yeah, you just summon this bad boy, swing, and then if you happen to have other Malefics, you just swing for half damage. And then he does break boards quite a bit. Stardust Dragon for the banish. Juggernaut's pretty good. So in order to go into Juggernaut, you have to make Gustav Max. Gustav Max is amazing. He is a big-bootied, big-bodied, bigger version of Gaga Cowboy. Detach 1, inflict 2k. Busted. Because if you can go into this guy, and then go into this guy, and then swing, you most likely have game. Because you summon out this guy off of a synchro and one of your level 10s, and you just kind of go, and if you happen to have Malefic Territory, then you swing with both of them and then overlay into Gustav Max, detach with Gustav Max for inflict 2k. If you don't, you just go Gustav Max, detach, 2k damage, then you special summon this boy on top of Gustav Max, and then you just go, okay, I'm gonna detach, and he gains 2k attack and defense, and then that is permanent. He gains a permanent 2k attack and defense. He gets bigger each time you activate this effect. And then also, for the rest of the turn, none of your other monsters can declare an attack, but during each battle phase, this card can make attacks on monsters equal up to the number of XYZ materials this guy has plus 1. So you have 1 material, he can attack twice. If he has 2 materials, he can attack 3 times. Normally, this guy will be able to attack 3 times. So swinging 6k 3 times, and if you happen to have Mystic Mine out on board, your opponent can't activate effects you're pretty much guaranteed that each and every single one of those attacks is going to go through. And for the Link monsters, you run Beat Cop. Now, you can run the Apprentice Witch one, which gains all dark monsters 500 attack, all light monsters get nega 500 attack, and then whenever she's destroyed, you add to hand a dark monster. I've just came across so many issues with it, because whenever you do summon out, Juggernaut, and he's just sitting there, no materials in your extra deck monster zone, and you can't summon out anything else. You can't link him off or anything. So I just went with Beat Cop to get rid of that kind of situation. You can also run the other train. You can also run the other rail level or rank 10 monster that makes it so that you target one monster you control, or one monster anywhere, and it's unaffected by every card effect except for itself, except for its own effect. I just didn't want to run it because this is already a kind of tight extra deck. Like, you have to have 6 spots to your extra deck dedicated to just things you have to banish from your extra deck. The reason why I'm not running Pot of Desires in the main deck is because you need your targets. If you banish all of your field spells, you're just kind of fucked. So that's a reason. Pot of Avros, I don't run that because I don't want to banish, my targets in my extra deck for, a 2-card draw. No, because that's, way too risky. So running 3 Allure and, a lot of other search cards does help. Side deck wise, you can really throw whatever you want in the side deck. I used to main deck Skill Drain all the time, but with this build, you need, OTK first turn material. So I do recommend side decking Skill Drain because it does help a lot. But if you want, you can main deck it. I'm just against main decking it because this game is super fast and you need as many spells to take advantage of the timing and spacing of everything. But that's it for this deck profile for Malefics. If you like this video, please drop a like and subscribe. If you want to see if you want me to go over any more deck ideas, deck build ideas for anything, comment down below, shoot a shout out at me, say, hey, I want to see Trickstar, I want to see, Thunders. I used to have a Dino Thunder, or a Dino Dragons build before it got, aggro pained. But there's a lot of different decks, there's a lot of different ideas, and I got plenty of stuff that I can really cover. If you want to keep up with the channel, please, ring that bell. There's also, in the description below, there's a link to my Facebook page. If you want to really stay caught up with everything that's going on with the channel, go to that Facebook page link and hit that follow. Because once you do, you'll be notified of when I, post something on there. I'll post polls, I'll post, I can post memes, I post short videos on Facebook all the time, just because, I'll record something on like my Xbox or something, or make a short silly little video and then upload it onto Facebook and just be like, oh, hey, look, here's some a little something, you know? But there's, you know, Facebook's mainly where I'll be interacting with y'all. So if you want, go there. There's also a link to my Mixer page. I'll be streaming on the weekends, so if you don't see any videos uploaded on the weekends, assume that I'm, you know, streaming on Mixer. And when I do stream on Mixer, if you do, you know, follow on Mixer or subscribe on Mixer, you can see when I do, you know, start streaming, and I can talk with you there real time. As always, guys, keep up the shenanigans. I'll see you guys in the next video.